Welcome to Health Coach for Women. Intentional living for more happiness and fulfillment in your everyday life with your host, Marsha Roopchand-Walker. Join Marsha as she shares her own personal wellness journey, as well as stories from our guests that will enlighten and inspire you to move towards better health and happiness. Now, here's your host, Marsha Roopchand-Walker.
Okay, welcome to another episode of Health Coach for Women, a podcast where we explore alternative and holistic solutions for better health and wellness. And I am your host, Marsha. Now, before we get started, please go ahead and hit that like button, share, and subscribe. All right, today I have a lovely guest, which I haven't done guest interviews in like forever. So, but I have my lovely guest here who is a holistic health practitioner herself, Miss Michelina Disibio. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Oh, thank you for having me, Marsha. And I'm honored to be on the list of guests. So thank you.
Oh, you are quite welcome. You are quite welcome. So today, what I want to ask you first is basically how you got started on your journey, and tell us a little bit more about what you do.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you again for having me. So my journey started about 12 years ago. I was in corporate America, and I was getting very sick, actually, from, I think, just a combination of things, the stress, the lifestyle, juggling family responsibilities, et cetera. And I got to a point where I knew I needed to make a change. You know, things were not in balance. My diet was off. I didn't have healthy boundaries between, work and family, and things just started to really shift, So what really was the final straw for me, Marsha, was that I was diagnosed with something called osteopenia. And this is the precursor to osteoporosis. Are you familiar with the loss of bone density and so on?
Yes, I was diagnosed with that as well.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. So this is something that's very common, but usually not at our young age, right? So usually this is something that we would see in older women. So it was quite shocking because I thought I was otherwise healthy, other than the stress I was sort of experiencing. But I didn't realize that I really needed to make some serious changes around my diet and my lifestyle. I really need to get more in balance. So when I was diagnosed with the osteopenia, I started to learn that, there are certain foods that are more acid forming in the body. For example, in my case, I decided to eliminate cow's milk, and I don't eat as much red meat really as I used to. And I started to practice stress management. And one of the other really important shifts for me was to include more plant-based nutrition into my diet. I'm not a vegan or a vegetarian. I eat everything. I call myself a flexitarian. But I've learned some really smart ways to bring more plants into my diet. And what we've seen time and again is, of course, there are many dietary theories, but what I've been reading a lot about lately is the benefits of the Mediterranean diet. So, of course, just lots of plants. I'm obviously a huge advocate. Whatever it is that you're eating, you want it to be sourced as close to the earth as possible.
Exactly. Yes. Thank you so much for sharing that. Boy, we have a lot in common. That's really interesting. Yeah. So basically that's how I got started on my journey as well, but for me, it started out with the menstrual cycle, the heavy flows for me, which led to anemia and depression, anxiety, all kinds of stuff. So, and that's when I started to really take a look at my diet, and learning that I was vitamin deficient and things of that nature. So, but I want to find out from you now what you're doing now is with the program that you're with, that I'd like for you to go ahead and share with our audiences, this program that you're in and the supplements, and share with us the Tower Garden. I love that.
Oh, yeah. Well, thank you for asking. Yeah. So what I found in my journey was that there are, amazing options available to you if you're willing and open to learning about what's out there, right? So what I learned, and not from my mainstream, doctors, because they're mostly trained in, how to address a symptom. So my philosophy is to get to the root cause. So I wanted to know, well, okay, if this is what I have regarding my bones, the osteopenia, what's the root cause? I don't want just a medication to sort of be the Band-Aid. I want to understand, like, how is this happening? What's the chemical situation in my body? So the plants is a really important part of my solution, is getting more natural anti-inflammatories into the body. The problem is that it's very difficult to get enough on our plates. Right? We are encouraged to get 7 to 13 servings of the entire color, all the colors of the rainbow every single day. The problem is this is really difficult to do. And this is what led me to my company that I'm with now. So what we do is we have farmers who grow fresh produce for us, about 30 different plants. And when they're vine ripened, it's really important to wait till they're vine ripened, because that's when all the nutrition is in the plant. It gets picked and it goes right into a big machine. Everything gets crushed and dried, the entire food, with the skin, the seeds, the peels, etc. And then we take all the plant powders and they go into either a vegan capsule or a chewable. So when I understood this, a very simple concept, it's not that difficult, right, to comprehend. It made so much sense to me. I thought, oh my gosh, of course I need this, because I don't get enough of anything.
Right.
Even if you're a healthy eater, it's very difficult. There's no other way I would get the nutrition from 30 different plants.
That's true.
Doing the concentrates. So, right. So that was solution number one. The other was, I can now grow my own food.
I love it.
On the vertical tower. I'll lower the camera
and without
so you can see the base of it.
Yeah. And what I love about that is without even having a farm or outdoors, because some people live in areas, especially like where I'm from originally, New York City, where you live in an apartment building, or you don't have a backyard, so that's amazing for people who want to grow their own food inside the home. That's awesome. Tell us more about the tower garden.
Yeah, so the tower is wonderful. It's what we call an aeroponics system. So your plants are growing on air and water and nutrients that are in the tower. I know it's a little difficult to see probably on the camera, but I just actually this morning put the new seedlings in the tower. So you might see a little bit of green in there. If we talk again in a week or two, you'll start to see that they're going to get obviously bigger and bigger over time. But what happens here is I fill the tank with 20 gallons of water. There are nutrients in the tank as well. There's a tiny motor in there about this big. And on a cycle, everything is on a timer, so I don't have to do anything now for probably 6 or 7 weeks until the plants grow. These are lettuces, by the way, lettuce and spinach. So there's a little motor in there. On a timer, the water is circulating up through the chamber. It gets pushed up to the top, sprinkles down, and waters all the roots inside the tower. So if you can imagine, the little seedlings are suspended in the air inside, and they get showered by the water and the nutrients on a cycle, and that's it.
Wow.
So there's no weeding. I love that there's no weeding.
Oh, wow.
It's
awesome.
Yeah, it's low maintenance, and it's great for the environment because we're recycling the water in there and the nutrients. So where I live here in Connecticut, come November, December, January, February, it's too cold to grow your own food outside. We can't do that. But I can do it here year round. And what's even more exciting for me is that we are now bringing these into schools. There's a curriculum for children.
Beautiful. Yeah. I love it.
It's wonderful. Worksheets, and they get really involved. And guess what happens when kids grow kale? They are much more likely to eat the kale because now they've had that experience.
That whole experience of seeing it grow, to be able to grow your own food. I love it. That is wonderful. And so it's going, the water system, it's coming from, is it connected to the piping, like with your kitchen or some type of, or is it just water that you put in there and then it just recycles?
Yeah, it's all contained right in the basin. So this morning, it's all right inside there. So this morning, what I did was I just ran a hose through the window to fill the tower. And that was it.
Oh, wow.
Alternatively, so now when this turns over, this harvest will be ready in about, I usually say 7 weeks from seed to salad.
Okay.
So what I try to do is always have a little seedling ready. So when I take a head of lettuce out, another seedling goes in, right?
Awesome.
And then when I have to refill the water, if it's say, in December, January, I'm just filling a pot at my kitchen sink and, and pouring it into the tank that way.
I love that. That is
Yeah.
truly awesome.
Yeah.
And so how much servings can you get? Like, say if you have a family of, I don't know, let's say, you have mom or families that have maybe 3 or 4 children, maybe even some even have about 5. How much can you actually do, like, as far as the servings?
Yeah, that's a great question. So, of course, it really does depend on how much the family's consuming every day or each week. But what you can do here is grow this is 20 heads of lettuce or any green produce that you want. By the way, I should mention, if you're growing outdoors, it's more ideal to do like tomatoes. You can do cucumbers, any kind of flowering plant as well.
Oh,
right? When you're indoors, because we don't have the bees inside, these are non-pollinating plants, right? So lettuces and spinach, things like that, they don't have flowers. There's no pollinating.
Right.
However, if you wanted to grow tomatoes inside, you could, but you would have to be the bee. Oh. You would have to get into pollinating.
Right.
Yeah.
I'll leave that to the bees. I
am totally with you. I have not personally done it, but I have friends who grow gorgeous tomatoes indoors. But so you have 20 ports here. So, right now in my household, there are 2 of us, myself and my husband. So, it probably takes us a week or 2 to go through a full cycle. If you're having salad with lunch and dinner, for example, it really depends. So, and then you can also add another 8 ports, or excuse me, you can add another, you can go up to 28 on this one. So you can add 2 more pots basically that have 4 ports in each one, and you can grow, it can make it taller if you want to do that as well.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And, I think when I looked at the website too, and I went and I checked it out, I think if I'm not mistaken, I think they had different tower sizes. Correct me if I'm wrong with that. Tower size.
No, you're right.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. So you're thinking so the towers come in 2 varieties. This is what we call the flex unit.
Okay.
It's flexible, meaning that you can take this outdoors or you can grow indoors. It's got a 20-gallon basin. The other tower that you're probably thinking of is called the home unit. The home unit is smaller. It's more compact. It's made for spaces like, say, a New York City apartment, or perhaps you just have, you really only want to grow indoors year round. You don't necessarily need such a large tank of water because the temperature is controlled indoors. So the water's not evaporating as faster in the hot summer months. So you can do the home unit just as well. I happen to have this one. And so, it started outdoors. And then once I started growing inside, I loved it so much that I just decided to keep it here.
Oh, wow.
Because, I can. And I do have a second one that I, set up on the patio outside.
That's beautiful. I
love
love it.
Yeah.
Yes, I love it. That is amazing. Now, I did have another question for you. Now, I know that you're going to get into telling us more about the company, but I also know that the company, they do supplements as well. And so I know that some people, certain things, they don't like to eat certain vegetables, or they don't have access to, the right foods. Certain areas do have food deserts. And so what can you do for, what would you say would be the best advice as far as getting your supplements? Because we know that in many of the foods that we consume, it's already been nutrient stripped of many of the nutrients that we need, right? Because of the way it was processed and things of that nature. So if someone was interested in the supplements, you already explained the breakdown of how it works. It goes straight from the fresh produce of the farm and goes right into being processed for the powder supplements. Tell us more about that. And as far as for people with a lot of full families, again, because I'm always thinking of the big families, people who have, 3 and 4 children, that stuff can be consuming, right? It's costly. So tell us more about someone who would purchase those supplements and then the benefits of purchasing for a large family where the kids can get their supplements.
Right.
Tell us more about that.
Yeah, I'm so glad you're asking because my focus is the family too. You know, I started this 12 years ago when my kids were much, much younger. And I'll say there are a couple of things that I really love about this. And the reason why, as a holistic health practitioner, I decided to align with this particular company and product. Number one is it's really important when you're shopping to get as much of your nutrition from food as possible.
Right.
There's a difference between vitamins, like a multivitamin, and food. So what you'll see here is the label is a nutrition facts label. That is a food label. That's what you'll see on a bag of broccoli or any kind of food that you'll buy at the grocery store. So this tells you that, yes, maybe it looks like a vitamin. People are used to seeing capsules and thinking it's a vitamin, but this is actually recognized as a whole food. And you can see here all the different foods, for example, that's in this is the fruit blend, and there's a vegetable blend and a berry blend, and then an omega blend. So number one is you want to make sure that what you're getting is whole food. And the other thing I love about this is that it's NSF certified. It's also got the kosher seal on it. The NSF gives you the assurance that everything that is on the label is actually in the food.
Right.
It's also been tested for herbicides, pesticides, fungicides, germicides. It's squeaky clean. Okay, that's number one. The other thing that's really important to me, especially as a healthcare professional, is that I look at the science.
Right.
There's now almost 30 years of science in various areas of health at top universities and institutions around the world that have studied specifically this food concentrate. Not apples in general or peaches in general or cherries or whatever, but specifically the powders that are in these blends. And we know from the science that they make a difference in the human body when it comes to the immune function, lung function, cardiovascular, DNA support. I mean, I think we have 47 studies now.
Right.
The third thing that's really important, and you mentioned with families, is that I love the program that's called Healthy Starts, that allows you as a parent or any adult to sponsor a child to get a free supply of the fruit and vegetable blends for 21 consecutive years. Okay, so starting at age 4, it is amazing. It is amazing. And when I first learned about it, the company was offering it free for 4 consecutive years to children. Starting at age 4, you could pick any 4 consecutive years and your child would get a free supply of the fruit and vegetable blend. Well, in May, the program was enhanced. So now it's available to children between the ages of 4 and 25 for that many consecutive years, as long, of course, as the adult sponsor is continuing to set the right example and consuming their own set of concentrates, right?
Wow.
So for children, I mean, I noticed in my own children that it changed in their case, their taste preferences, they broaden their palate. Well, guess why? Because if your body, and you're showering your body every day with nutrition from 30 different foods like kale, spinach, broccoli, etc., guess what happens to your taste preferences?
Right. Tell us.
Right?
I know.
So now,
tell the people. Yeah.
Well, so now all of a sudden, I'll never forget the story. One day I was sitting on the beach with, my cousin, and all of our children were running around, and they're handing out like bologna sandwiches or ham and cheese or whatever the sandwiches were. And I hand my son a salad with like grilled chicken on it. And everybody, all the other adults are looking at me and going, how is he eating a salad? And I said, well, let me tell you why. Because we've been doing this. I've been showering his body with all of these plant nutrients. So he's got that acquired taste, if you will. I don't know if that's the right. So he's open to it. And the good news is, certainly for me as a mother, is that now my children as young adults have already built this healthy habit.
Good.
It's the foundation. right? It's one
Exactly.
small thing that you can do to set them up for success later on.
Yeah, I think it's totally amazing. And especially the part where the children can get these supplements into adulthood. I mean, that is just, or foods, I should say, into adulthood. I mean, that is awesome. That right there, that isn't like a no-brainer, you know? And I know there's also another bonus. First of all, which we haven't mentioned, the name of the company and how someone can get started if they wanted to join in and actually, you know, if they have a love for this type of work that we do, how could they get started in becoming a part of the program or being a part of that company to get started and actually earn some money in the process?
Absolutely. So thank you for asking. So yeah, so we're called the Juice Plus Company. Okay. I'm an affiliate with the company, and we employ a network marketing model. And I'm so grateful for this. After spending almost 20 years in a traditional corporate America environment, I've come to really appreciate the setup for the way we do business, which means that everyone starts in the same place. Everyone has an equal opportunity for success and for getting to the top level in our company if they desire to do that. There's no pressure, there's no quota. What I say is, if you are someone who really wants to make an impact in what I call true healthcare, not necessarily being in the sick care system, right? We're helping people avoid the sick care system by giving them
measures. Yes, preventive medicine.
Yes, that's what this is all about. So you might be someone like me who was in a traditional corporate America job, and perhaps you're looking for a way to make an impact. Maybe you're looking for a side hustle, something that you think will help you set yourself up for retirement and beyond. Or perhaps you're someone who's already a healthcare professional and you're looking for another way to help your clients or patients. You know, how can you serve them better? How can you give them a solution that's going to help them? Right. This might be a vehicle for you to do that, and also diversify the income for your practice. Right. So, you know, it can be a great fit. It's not for everyone. But if you're someone who loves to help other people, you love to share, you love to motivate and inspire, and most of all, educate, because this is really, that's what this is all about, is educating and helping people to understand, then I would be honored to talk to anyone and see if they're, you know, if they're a good fit to affiliate, to be a partner with our company.
Awesome. That is amazing. Yeah, that is amazing. I am so glad I had you on today. And tell us, how can we get in touch with you? If someone want to reach out to you, who want to learn more about the program, or just, you know, purchase some items from you, how can they get in touch with you?
Absolutely. So probably the easiest way would be either through LinkedIn. I have a very, I'm very present on LinkedIn, or you can email me at mmdisibio@icloud.com. Perhaps this will be in the show notes. Yes. Marsha, right? So you can reach me that way. And you can also go to my landing page, which is called lettucebethegood.com.
Oh, I like that.
Lettuce, like the lettuce we eat. Right. But you can see the dual meaning, right? Let us all be the good.
I love it.
So yeah, thank you. Yeah, I thought that was, yes. So little play on words, but it's a lot of fun.
Right. Nice. Boy, look at that. We are pretty much, that's it. We covered so much in so little time, and in a nutshell. Thank you so much, Michelina, for being a guest on the podcast. I appreciate you, and I'm going to definitely spread the word about the company, you and what you're doing. And it again, like I said, I know we spoke ahead of time before about it, but because I was doing different things, and I don't want to feel like I'm dipping in, you know, what's the word, where you're dipping in too many things at one time and then you become unproductive. But I am definitely going to probably look into this again, because I'm definitely interested in the tower, and I want to learn more. And if I can share this with people on my family, especially on my in-law side, on my husband's side, I think they would really enjoy this a lot. So thank you so much for being a guest.
Thank you for having me. It's an honor
You're
to be
welcome.
here.
You're welcome.
Thank
No
you.
problem.
If you are struggling with health issues like chronic pain, being held back by past traumas, or feeling overwhelmed and hopeless, please know there is hope. There is help. Transcendence, a woman's guide to healing and self-love for better health, happiness, and abundance, is a blueprint to help you get your life back and reclaim your health. Within its pages, you'll learn how to elevate your existence by shifting your mindset toward the positive, focusing your energy on what's really important, using gratitude to feel deep appreciation, changing your gene expression through epigenetics, building resilience, and living in a state of flow, feeling love overflow within. Go beyond an ordinary life. Transcend. Buy it now.
Thank you so much for listening to Health Coach for Women with your host, Marsha Roopchand-Walker. If you've enjoyed this podcast, please be sure to rate, subscribe, and review on your preferred podcast listening platform. We really appreciate that effort. Until next time.